Hello everyone, welcome to Jambolina's World. Today is my first ever Topic Tuesday. This is something that I saw on Instagram and thought it would be super fun to make a video about. This week's Topic Tuesday theme is pastel rainbow. And honestly, when I think of pastel rainbows, one collection in specific really comes to mind, which is the Linby Designs Sticker Collection Part 2. These are beautiful. There is 2 other polishes that go in this little rainbow, but I feel like kind of a smart aleck pulling these out. And I'm actually even wearing one of these polishes right now, so it just shows how much I really love these polishes, and I do pull for them quite a bit. I am finally wearing one that is an untried for me, so I will let those be my specialty finish picks. I did, however, pull 7 creams to follow the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet theme. And honestly, I think they're so pretty together. Let me just show you what I pulled. So the first one was actually a little bit challenging. When I think of pastel red, I kind of just think of pink. So when I started Googling pastel red to try to figure out what exactly does that look like, I actually got a couple different results. Some varying in that pink range, but the one that ended up winning me over was the one called pastel red. Now, most of us would probably refer to this color as coral. Here's what it looks like in the bottle versus on the nail. This one is an old julep polish. Unfortunately, this one has no name, so I don't know. I just have a few in my polish collection that either the names have worn off or I never knew them, but it is a very beautiful tone. But it does read a little bit darker out of the bottle. I would call this a true coral tone, but Google's telling me that's what pastel red is. I thought this was going to be a super easy Topic Tuesday, but honestly, most of the colors that I pulled, we as polish lovers know these colors as a different name than just pastel red, pastel purple. We know these colors as things like coral or lavender. So the next one proved to be a little bit of a challenge as well. The pastel orange, another one I kind of had to look up to see exactly what that looked like. And of course, all the results came up as peach colors or bleached neon type of colors. And that's exactly what I have here. I pulled Good Vibes by the LA Colors Color Craze gel line. And this one is definitely a bleached neon, but it gives like a peachy tone. It's just kind of a really vibrant one. Definitely a super pretty color. But I don't know, is there really such thing as a pastel orange? I don't really think so. Just like there's not really a neon purple. There may be ones that look similar or could be described that way, but are they really? That's kind of how I feel like this. This is more like a bleached neon peachy tone to me. But Google says pastel orange is of a peachy tone, so here we are for my orange pick. The next one was much easier for me, a pastel yellow. I have a good handful of those tones, and I plan on doing a short kind of comparing those polish tones here really soon because the butter nails trend is hot and poppin' for spring right now, and these beautiful pastel yellow tones are exactly that, the butter nails. So this is another one that dries slightly more bright or vivid than it is in the bottle, but I think that that is okay. I really like the formula on these Revlon HD snap polishes. This one is called Making the Most, and I definitely love that bright but yet soft yellow tone. Green was another one that I thought would be easy, but it was actually a little bit difficult as well. For me, I ended up pulling a more bleached neon. All of my more pastel greens are in that like, bleach neon type of realm. They're kind of bright. This one is a little bit on that bleachy neon side. This one is called Lucky, also from the LA Colors Color Craze gel line. This one is a very pretty green. It's almost kind of minty, but it is definitely really bright in that kind of muted category. So it's definitely a really fun and cute one. And I really love the formulas on these LA Colors polishes, and you can't really beat the price either. The next one I would consider one of my favorite of all time, Blue Baby Blue range polishes, maybe even in the powdery blue range. This is the thing, when you get into polishes, just a drop of color added to a polish is now a totally different color. We really break down the colors and have a name for just every shade. So this one, it's kind of hard to just say it's a pastel blue because all of those lighter shades of baby blues, they all have names, and this one kind of falls in that powdery blue range. It's muted, it's cold, but it's soft, and it has like a hint of vibrancy under that muted tone. I love this polish, and another brand I really love the formulas of is Olive and June. This is one of the polishes that restarted me back into the polish world, was the Olive and June brand. This one is called Honest and True, and I just think it is such a beautiful light shade of blue, and I feel like it just fits so perfectly in this lineup. This is another one where I have so many bottles of a powdery blue tone. Definitely another tone of polish I should do comparisons of on my channel because I adore them and I have a lot of them. But this is the one that I pulled for my Pastel Rainbow. Pastel Indigo. Now this one, I had a feeling that I would be able to just find one really easily. The one thing that troubled me with this was the name, of course, Pastel Indigo. Indigo is already a color that people kind of argue over what exactly that color is. And when you go and add pastel to the front of that word, oh my goodness, you get an onslaught of different ideas and opinions as to what in the heck this color is supposed to look like. But again, with this one, Mr. Google Pants was my friend here. I had to kind of search and see what exactly does this look like, and we got varying results. Some of these were kind of in the lavendery shade, which I was really surprised. But the ones that I felt more true are more of that periwinkle color, kind of that more dusty blue, more of a fall tone pastel, if you know what I'm saying. It's kind of like a deeper, darker, but also dusty, light, and powdery type of blue. It does have slight undertones of purple, and I feel like this one is absolutely perfect. I have another Revlon Ultra HD Snap Polish here. This is actually one of my favorite colors from this line. Absolutely stunning shade. It just looks like a very blue purple. If like a blurple could be a pastel, I feel like that shade is really, really close. It is a little bit darker out of the bottle, and it gives a little bit more of that purple tone than it does in the bottle. As you can see, my bottle is a little bit unmixed, and there's a little bit of ugly bottle syndrome going on in my bottle. I really hate that term. It just makes me cringe. But I don't really know what else to call it. That is kind of what they call it in the polish community. But it's just when the colors of the base polish start to kind of separate, and you can see the red tones are kind of pulling out of the base of the polish here. So that may be why it looks a little bit lighter in the bottle than it does on the nail. That's not always the case, but in this case, we can see that the colors are separated a little bit. Personally, I don't own a nail polish shaker. There is such a thing. There's a little gadget, a little gizmo, a little machine that you can just strap your polish in, and it gives it a good shake for you, like hundreds of shakes per minute. Super cool. But they're kind of spendy, and for me, I just mix up my polishes by hand. And when I have things like this happen, I do have a little bit of a tip and trick to go in and fix this without the shaker, but it does cause minimal polish loss. I do plan on talking about that in my restoring polishes video, which is soon to come here on the channel. So definitely make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you're loving this video so far, go ahead and hit that like. And if you'd like more Topic Tuesday videos, definitely let me know down in the comments. This is such a fun one. But this polish was Revlon Ultra HD Snaps Get Real. And the last one, Pastel Violet. Violet is another tone I feel like people argue over what it actually looks like. I feel like indigo and violet are interswapped in some people's minds, and I think we just need to have a little bit of a color lesson. But this one was a little interesting again when I kind of Googled what exactly does a pastel violet look like. And of course it came up with a bunch of lavendery shades, those like light pastel purple with more of a pinky tone, those kind of orchid colors I was not expecting at all. But pastel violet, I feel like has a lavendery tone, but maybe is not quite the same. I feel like it's a little bit deeper, a little bit dustier. But again, these two colors seem to be just up to everybody's interpretation. So this is my interpretation of pastel violet. Unfortunately, I pulled out another polish with no name. This is Helios Luminor polish, another one that's kind of unmixed. The bottom is pretty much where all the white pigment is, and the dark pigment has all kind of floated to the top in this one. And in the bottle, it looks much lighter than what it does on the nail. I feel like on the nail, it is an absolutely perfect tone to kind of go in this little rainbow, but it is kind of in that red tone purple with a very dusty base. Very creamy, definitely in the pastel range, but I feel like a lot of the colors that I picked here are maybe a bit more vibrant than what actual pastels look like. I feel like most of these are more in the bleach neon range, but really, what is the difference between a bleach neon and a pastel? When you Google and look at each color, they look so similar or have the same tones shown. So it is kind of one of those things where we have labeled every shade of color that we can possibly think of in the spectrum, but in reality, we all perceive colors a little bit differently, as well as new colors somehow continue to be made and created, like the ultra darkest black and the whitest of white, which we already thought we had. But artisans, paint makers, and more are finding that the pigments are still out there to be found. And so if we don't have the perfect pastel shade, we have hope and we may see them in the future. But this has been my take on the Pastel Rainbow Topic Tuesday theme. I will leave more information about Topic Tuesday down in the description for you. But that's it for this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until next time, friends, thanks so much for hanging with me.